just totally devastated my confidence in myself.
There's the issue of just personal identity, of personal worth. How am I supposed to interact with the world? How am I supposed to contribute?
So because of the negativity and things I was carrying, I couldn't be positive until I got here.
It is a professional outplacement service for professionals that were mid to high wage earners prior to displacement, who are seeking assistance, mentoring, coaching, and possibly training in order to reconnect to the labor force.
Most of these people have never been through this before. You know, a lot of these people have had pretty high paying positions. They're educated, 1, 2, 3 degrees. They're looked up to in their churches or looked up to in their professions. They did not see this coming. So what we bring to them is that even though where they are is where they are, it's not who they are. And what we do is we guide them back.
We serve the Tri-County area, which is Charles, Calvert, and St. Mary's in southern Maryland. In the world we live in, there are people who come in and out of this area, all with special talents, all with a story to tell.
I had been relatively successful throughout my career. Most of my jobs had been for Fortune 50 companies. I had just completed terminating about 10 of my employees. But when I got called into the office, that's when I found out that since I had already cleaned out the people, it was my turn. What it really taught me was that at any time, anybody is vulnerable, and this can happen to anyone.
Well, I've been a trailing spouse for about 10 years, and my husband and I are both professionals, but we make a decision as to how we wanted to live our lives. And so that means that we've moved to several different states. I've been a graduate professor in adult and community and continuing education programs at several universities. Anytime that you make a transition in life, particularly career-wise, you're moving to a new location, you've lost a job for whatever reason, there's this whole issue of identity. And it becomes difficult, literally, when you go to a new location because you don't know how to introduce yourself. You don't know how to be introduced because we all identify with what we do in life, our jobs, our careers.
I got laid off from D&Z Atlantic from Calvert Cliffs. I was a supervisor over the safety security, the perimeters they were putting around to keep the terrorists out of there. So I sat around for about 5 months feeling sorry for myself. I was totally devastated over what happened. The emotions that I felt were just complete, utter frustration. My wife says, "You got to find a job." I said, "I don't want a job," because my heart had been ripped out by the job I had.
Every opportunity that I've had since I've relocated here all really came as a result of my interaction with Job Match. And I think what really separates Job Match from other programs like that is that it identifies what our individual needs are, and it really caters a customized program. So it's not about just getting a job. You know, a lot of people think this whole notion around being unemployed, the objective is to get a job. If I wanted to get a job, and if these individuals wanted to get a job, we could have gotten a job. But you'll hear a reoccurring theme about the right fit. This is something that you've got to put a lot of effort into as well. But the effort that you're going to be putting in is based upon direction that you're going to get from professionals. They're going to really see what really you need. They're going to give you an opportunity to be successful based upon the relationships, the networking, the individual coaching and training that you're going to have. And I think that's what makes this Job Match a model that really should be exported throughout the United States.
I wanted to do two things, actually. I wanted to continue to pursue my career in adult education if I could, but I also wanted to see if there were any opportunities in the healthcare world. That was the last career that I had ever wanted to experience. I had interviewed, actually, for some positions in healthcare, trying to utilize my education background and transition into that field. And it soon became apparent that they really wanted somebody to have had some experience in the healthcare world, other than having been a patient, and before I could actually make a career there. I took advantage of that opportunity of kind of reinventing myself once I had come here. Now I'm an adult student in the RN program at College of Southern Maryland and looking to become a nurse. One of the things that Job Match enabled me to do was to realize that I could still be a consultant, even though I was going back to school and starting another career. And so I was able to tweak my vita, my resume, in order to fit that need. And indeed, I've started to do some consulting work, but still going back to school. So I introduced myself as an adult education consultant, but a full-time nursing student. And people, of course, kind of take a second look and go, really? And I go, yeah. And it's possible to do. There is life after a certain age. And the resources and support are out there for you to go ahead and do it.
Well, coming here was a big change for me because it took away that negativity and reinforced positive things that I believe. It gave me a reinforcement that I needed, that I can be that perfect fit for the job that I apply for. When we do this interactive things with the videos, we get to see how we look on camera. And the questions asked are pretty difficult. The last interview I had asked me about why did I lose my job. That got into a deepness that I hadn't wanted to share. But because of the comfortable zone that I had with this job match and the people that I have met here who are just like me, I was able to go to the next level. I would recommend this program to people that struggled like I did because I could have stayed where I was and never come out of that. I want a career, and that's why I'm here. And if you want a career, you come here because you will learn the tools that you need and receive the reinforcement that you need to be that.
Everything local governments do is generated off their financial situation. So the stronger that your employment base is and the stronger that the wages are for your workers in your area, the more government can do to make life better for everyone. These are the folks that buy the homes, that create the real estate property taxes. These are the people that support the local businesses and keep our community strong, not just employment-wise, but culturally and in all other aspects. I think this is a small investment that can return greatly to the community, and one would hope that the leaders-to-be will find that money to see this program continue.
It's often like watching a flower bloom. If we had your cameras and we could, over time, set the camera in such a way you could watch these people bloom. And that's a good thing.